We got like 4 days, but yes, as of right now.
Is that an official depth chart? Is that your depth chart?
It came from Alex, so it's
I mean, might as well ask one of us then.
yeah. No, it is official. Yeah.
What did Jawan do
I'm also glad that's such a big topic.
to sort of show you why he should be the starting right tackle?
Well, I mean, it was a great battle, competition throughout camp, really, and I thought both guys did an outstanding job. Walker did a nice job when he was in there, and of course, Jawan, had been there before, and it was really, really his job to lose, so to speak. But he came back and showed us some great things, and deserving of the spot.
Doug, what do you like about Marvin Jones' leadership and on and off the
Marvin, just a class act. A great vet in the room. There's a lot of young guys in that room. When you're thinking about the Tim Joneses in there, and now some of the young practice squad players, and just he can be such an impact on those players, on how he handles his business, and just a great leader with the entire team. It's a reason why the players respect him and look up to him, and because of what he's done in this league.
Pretty much across the board otherwise pretty good. I know obviously Devin is still working his way back. James is obviously still working his way back, but both on the depth chart, no other injuries.
Foley's the only one that we're working back into the mix. We should see him at practice today.
Are there any concerns knowing the depth there, knowing that it's only like one or two other guys that can really play that three technique position behind him?
No, we're comfortable with the guys we have and the different rotations that Mike and Buck can present. So we're comfortable there.
Now, is opening day, does it feel different as a coach versus a player leading up to the game, and especially in, say, morning of?
I mean, opening day is opening day. It's a lot of fun. You're playing 1 o'clock game. It's sunny out, and as opposed to a preseason night game. But the emotions are going to run high. Obviously, there's going to be butterflies, and jitters just to start the game, and that's just natural. And it just shows you that that football's here and football's back, and we're ready for another season.
Is there anything you can tell the rookies to prepare them for the emotions they're going to have that day?
It's hard. You can talk to them and kind of express your experiences there. Of course, these guys have been through their own opening days, but these are a little bit different at this level, and they'll handle it. The vets on the team can also sort of shed their experiences, sort of cast a light, and but it's how we control our emotions too early in the football game, because you don't want to expend a lot of energy early. Make sure you can control that and play for 60 minutes.
Doug, not that you need any validation, but does the team need maybe a win early to validate everything you've been doing?
Well, I mean, listen, you want to win every football game. There's no question about that. And you want to do the things we've talked about, right? You want to take care of the football. You want to create turnovers. You want the ability to run the ball, stop the run. I mean, it's all those things we've talked about from day one. And I think if you do enough of that in any game, your chances of winning are increased. But we just have to focus on us and make sure we're doing everything we can to, give our players the best opportunity to be successful on game day.
Chase Young obviously gets a lot of the newspaper clippings, the headlines, and he obviously is expected to still be out because of the ACL tear. What do you see from those other four guys that they are going to be starting along their front four?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, Chase was a great player. I've seen him, when I was in my former life and played against him, or not me personally playing against him, but coached against him. Good player, and he's going to be missed, by that team and by that front. He's a leader there. But the other guys are just as good. I mean, they've Washington has spent a lot of resources in that defensive line and over the years, and these are really good players. And it really doesn't matter who they plug in. There's some game records there, and it'll be a guy like Luke Fortner. First time in there with these two big guys, physical guys, will be fun to watch. Watch that the entire game, but. they give you a bunch of different looks, multiple looks, and things that we have to be prepared for.
It's safe to say, as you are preparing, that that is an X factor as you look at what they can present, having that defensive front.
Yeah, I think it's one of them, and you always go into games trying to, control the line of scrimmage. I think what every coach in the league is saying, hey, let's control the line of scrimmage, and easier said than done, obviously, especially when you go against, a front like this.
Sunday will be. You watch the growth of Carson Wentz at about the same point that Trevor's starting to get to now. Anything about these quarterbacks compare at all for you in terms of the growth at the kind of the year 2 point?
Yeah, it's similar, but in our case it's different because year 2 for Trevor is a different staff, right? And different head coach, different coordinator, different position coach. Where Carson year 2, it was the same guys, and there was consistency there, and although we've seen tremendous growth in Trevor, year 2 for Carson with us, there was another step, there was another leap there, and those are things that we're trying to get Trevor to, right? That level with Trevor in our system, and you're going to see it probably throughout the course of the season, but I think time will tell, with him.
As a follow-up, I mean, you've implied all spring and summer about Trevor's growth and how all the implications are he's going to take this significant step, whatever that looks like in year 2. What is it that makes you feel that way, that he's going to take that leap, whatever it looks like?
I think it's just down to the player, who the player is, and how willing he is to take the coaching, take the criticism, take the good, the bad, and work on his craft. That's with any player, but in this case with Trevor, that's what we've seen from all the way back in the spring, and just the improvements he's made from, you say, OTAs in May and June to now are tremendous, and sometimes they're even just subtle changes, but they're changes to us, and those are the things that you build on, and just kind of keep him headed in the right direction. Obviously, no setbacks, and just keep plugging away and working hard.
Sunday will be Mike Caldwell's first game calling plays in the regular season as a defensive coordinator. Do you think back to your first game calling plays and give him any advice from your experience in that first real game?
Well, you talk about opening day jitters, for a play caller. I remember my first in 16 against the Browns, and thing is with, you think you got to call the perfect play, in your mind you think you're trying to scheme the defense and trying to call the perfect play offensively, and probably the same way on defense. But my advice to him will just be to relax, have fun with it, use his eyes, believe in what he's been talking about all week and the plan, and ultimately you got to just trust your players, right? Put them in situations. That's what you go out and you practice all week for, and just trust those guys to make the plays for you.
When you look back over the summer and maybe even before, is there anything that stands out about the team, like just how they've bought in, or maybe the dedication that some guys have shown leading up to this point?
I think, it's. I look at this team and how well they've sort of come together, as a group over, the course of the summer, training camp now, and it's a close group, and that's rare, especially with a new staff, a new coach. Sometimes it takes a little more time than expected, but this group came together rather quickly. There's great leadership on this team within the locker room, and that's what the players lean on. That's what I lean on, during these times, and that to me has been sort of what has brought this team, through training camp, and here we are into the regular season, and they're healthy, they're excited, and just looking forward to the opportunity.
Doug, how difficult is it to prepare for this week 1 game where you have preseason tape, but as you've admitted about you guys, you're trying to be vanilla. Most teams aren't trying to show a lot, so you're trying to prepare to counter what they present, but maybe you don't know what they present.
It's the hardest thing, because you don't know what they've been working on in the off season, through training camp, and those are things you don't show during the preseason games. But there's obviously history knowing Coach Del Rio and just studying his past and having coached against him in the past and Coach Rivera. And, they've got a great staff over there. But at the same time, there's always the unknown and those unscouted looks, as we call them, that you don't see on tape. And, it's just if it happens, it happens. We just make the corrections on the sideline and move on. And but yeah, these first game or two into the season, something's gonna surprise you a little bit.
In another interview, you said Trevor Lawrence reminds you a little bit of Brett Favre. Comparisons like that aren't things that you probably throw around real lightly, so that's some heavy praise for a young quarterback.
What I meant by that too was just how he leads a team. Trevor's he's not the cheerleader, the rah-rah guy that, stand on the table. Brett was never that way. He always led by example, and he was a hard worker. He was dedicated to his craft. He wanted to learn and get better, and that's what I saw in Brett, and that's what I see in Trevor. And so there's some similarities that way. Two different type of quarterbacks, obviously, but that leadership style is very similar.
Obviously, you're familiar with this Washington team, but are there unique challenges when you go out of conference, especially early in the season, just playing a team that you might not normally face?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, a few of us know this team and they kind of know some of us, here. So it's a little different that way, having spent 5 years in that division. This is always going to be one of those tough physical, games anytime you play Washington, but it's just a matter. Both teams are going to prepare this week, and obviously both staffs are going to prepare their players and for a great football game on Sunday.
What kind of a pitch count do you think James Robinson will be on? I'm assuming it won't just be like his normal workload.
Yeah, I think we got to get into the football game. I've been in situations like this too where you want to go in and you want to control the pace of play with a guy like James, but at the same time, if he's feeling good and there hasn't been any setbacks or anything, then you just go. You just roll with it, and you've got 48 guys on game day, and you got to use them all.
Do you have a feel yet for where he's at? I mean,
I think he's there. I think he's back. He's practiced these last few weeks. He's looked really good. I'm excited to watch him play.
if he is, it's a pretty big story. I mean, Achilles tendons injury used to be career enders.
Usually, but modern medicine, technology, rehab, there's a lot of things now at these players' disposal that get them back on the field a lot sooner than before. I've been around, players, even offense and defensive linemen, same injury, and they come back right away and play. So it's not out of the question for him. And it's a credit to the player, too, for his dedication to getting back on the field.
What is it about James that, he could really be a big boost on Sunday? Is it more that he's a kind of a known commodity and he's kind of proven it?
Yeah, that, and he just, he's a, he's a little different runner than TJ, obviously, and he fits, a certain style of run game that we like, and TJ fits another style that we like, and, you try to use both of them together, and, be smart, put them in situations where they can be successful, obviously, and that's on us as coaches to do that, but, he brings a little different style. He runs a little bit lower behind his pads a little bit, more of a downhill one-cut guy, and that's what he's done in the past, and we just keep that going.
How much flexibility as a play caller does that give you, just having two backs or maybe so different stylistically?
It opens things up if you're running the ball successfully, and it starts there. But yeah, it's nice to have two different type of runners, because you can do different things, during the game. But again, it's more too about what works and what's going to work, as you get into the game and as you make adjustments.
Do you expect to have 4 running backs active on game days, or
I don't know yet.
just the numbers? I was just curious if JaMychal or any of the other guys that you guys claimed off waivers, if they'll be available.
Yeah, JaMychal's doing well. We'll see where he's at the end of the week. As we work towards the 48. Snoop's in the same boat right there, kind of competing together, and we'll make those decisions later in the week.
Do you know what you're going to get on Sunday? Do you think you know what you're going to get on Sunday?
What do you mean,
From
yeah?
your team, do you think you know what you're going to look like offensively and defensively, and how you're going to play, and what kind of style you're going to have, and who you're going to be?
I think in your mind, yeah, and I think that's why you practice and you put in the game plan this week, and you go out and you execute it, and you have a vision of what what you hope it is, and what you think you can be. And it's my job as the head coach is to keep the team focused on that. Right? We've got to have an identity. We've got to do the things that we've talked about all off season and training camp. And I have a vision in my head, and I try to relate that and communicate that to the team. And now they have to go out and try to be that. It's the fun part. No, it's the fun part of it.
He just panicked, by the way, when you called Travis TJ.
Oh, he did? He's like, who's that?
Well, listen, sometimes
Travis Etienne
names
Jr.,
in this building,
TJ.
unfortunately, remembering names over the last year. I don't know, so that's actually what you guys, I don't know, that's a nickname that you guys have for him.
Yeah, I kept hearing, Bernie Parmalee keep calling him TJ, and I'm like, who is TJ? Who is this guy? Do we have TJ on the roster? And he's no, that's just what we've called him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You referenced fun multiple times. You mentioned it on Monday. You're
Fun?
mentioning it. Yeah, fun. Having fun, enjoying football.
This is no fun.
But let's talk about what is fun. And it seems like even to the players, like somebody mentioned it on Monday, it feels like a lot of the team is loose and they're ready to go into a game. You don't sometimes see that going into week one. Just how does that come about? Is that something that you and the staff did? Is that something that the players, that's just their energy, or?
I think that goes all the way back to the off season. I think it goes back to me having a year off, and thinking about my next opportunity and where that might be, and then when given that opportunity, how that's going to look, and ultimately I get to set the tone, for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year, and I want these guys to have fun. This is a short-lived business for players and coaches, and if we don't enjoy coming to work every day and having fun doing what we're doing, then we need to honestly go do something else. And I want to create that environment for these guys, but yet still hold them accountable and make sure they're doing their job and all of that. But at the same time, let's have fun. Let's have fun doing it. All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
We have
Yep.
fun.
We'll try and make it fun. We'll bring ice cream next time.
I'll let you know.